We first started, and it wasn't youth sheds, it was I think 2017 when I was working with some young people doing employability skills. Yeah, I got frustrated with the employability skills being reduced to a workbook. And I like to give the young people I was working with real life scenarios, you know, that they could do in the real world rather than doing something that was done in a classroom, and in order to demonstrate their skills. So yeah, so I set a group of young people the task of coming up with a solution to what was then, it was a solution to antisocial behaviour, but that took us on a journey together of learning about adverse childhood experiences and trauma. So although we were looking at antisocial behaviour, it was so much more than that, so much deeper than that. So that's when we first started the journey of what then became the first youth shed. It started due to the antisocial behaviour angle, but today we're so much wider than that. We work with young people. Often we'll work with ones who struggle because of issues in society or in the family, or you know, ACEs, trauma and whatnot. But we also work with a lot of young people who may traditionally struggle in the large groups, and you know, just need that. We call it the one. We want to work with the one. You know, the 99 are all right. The ones that we love to work with are the ones that just need that extra, that little bit something different. Youth projects in towns aren't generally connected, so they, you know, you wouldn't have a nation of youth clubs coming together. You know, I think one of the big things of society now is the disconnection from community. Is a sense that young people struggle to connect and to be. So I think youth sheds, what we're trying to do, what we have done, in fact, not trying to, we have done, is we've created a community of young people that have a sense of belonging and a sense of identity, which I think is really, really important. From day one, we strive to make people feel a sense of belonging and feel a sense of identity, and feel a sense of developing that pro-social identity in young people. So it's not something really that we've got to teach. It's something that we give them an experience of. So when they come to a youth shed, we have the principles of youth sheds that were created by our young people. So one of them, for example, is we accept and we're accepted. You know, so I don't need to teach somebody that. People experience that when they come in, and that's the ethos that we're trying to get across. It's that sense of belonging, that sense of feelings when you come in. You know, one girl used to say, like, you can leave all your trouble at the door, and that's great. I'll tell you what we're doing. We're loving people. We're loving young people. That's what we're doing, which is it's just a sense of belonging, a sense of being looked after. Sometimes the young people that need loving the most ask for it in the worst possible ways. Yeah, so I think that's what we want to do, is the ones who really desperately need that sense of belonging, that thing, you know, we try and teach them by doing and being that they don't need to ask for it in those ways. They can be accepted, they can be loved, they can be cared for. That's what we all want, isn't it? When young people come to youth sheds, there's no sense of urgency to get them doing things. You know, so there's no, unlike if you go in, I don't know, you go into a classroom environment, you know, there's an expectation that you have to do. So when they come in, it's not right, you've got to do this, this and this. I'm not standing there as a teacher. The youth shed champion isn't there as a teacher. You know, they are there to create, the young people create a space that's good for them. So it's not about doing, it's about just being and coming in. And that's quite difficult in this world, because we're so used to doing, and you know, we've got to do this, we've got to work towards a certificate or a qualification or get a job or something. We don't have that in youth sheds at all. We're just creating a space where young people can come and be. The only thing that we insist upon, and it's part of the principles again, is that it's for our community, not just ourselves. So one of the things that we love to build upon is the pro-social identity of young people. We create opportunities for the young people to be involved out there in the world. So if they say, for example, we have to get creative, you know. So if say a kid says to me, "Oh, I need a bike. I want a bike. Can youth sheds help me get a bike?" We'll go, "Yeah, we can do that. What you're going to do for somebody else." So it then becomes about giving to their community. So using the bike example, somebody in Kimmel Bay Youth Shed wanted a bike. So what we did, we got them a bike, but the deal was that we had to get another 2 bikes that they would then do up and give to some children who didn't have a bike, you know? They get the reward for doing something good for other people. And that's a beautiful thing to see, because we live in such a world where it can be take, you know. We want to sort of come against that and go, no, let's give, and then see how you feel. And you can see kids then, you can see that really when they give the kid the bike who hasn't got a bike, you can see them absolutely buzzing doing it, and it's great to watch. So a youth shed champion is somebody who usually gets in touch with us to start their own youth shed, and what we'll do then, we'll support that person, and that person's the driving force behind the new youth shed in their town. So in Colwyn Bay, for example, we've got Hannah and Kenny. They're the champions. So Hannah, a mum, local mum. Kenny he runs a lot of music. He does a lot of hip hop and stuff like that, you know. And so they got in touch and wanted to start a youth shed. So they became the champions. So they're the ones keeping it safe, helping the young people, and positive role models as well. I think that's the important point for being a champion. We're not bothered really about that you've got a degree or you've got a youth work qualifications coming out your ears and that. We're actually not interested in that. We're interested in, are they a good role model? Can they keep it safe? Can they help the young people? Live out the principles? Are they living the principles? You know, we want to see people who want to. A champion is someone who's got a real heart for young people, who's got a real heart for the community. They're the ones that bring it together and keep the young people safe. Ultimately, that's the most important thing. But they're the driving force. A shed in every town. A youth shed in every town. Again, going back to that connection. So in order to do that, we have to share the principles, we have to share the ethos, and that's what's important. So that's what we've done, is we've created this toolkit that captures that helps us to do that. Ultimately, the first thing we want to know is it safe, and is it sustainable? The whole toolkit and the support from us will help make that happen, because it will have all of the policies and procedures. So that's going to help you get your funding, and it's going to have all of your risk assessments. That's going to help keep it safe. So already the champion's going to feel a bit better because they've got those things in place. Support from us then they might need to go through some training. They might want to go on youth worker training. They might want for us to come and do some sessions with them to teach them a bit more about the ethos and the principles. Very, very important for us is that because we are a community, we have to work with all the people in the community. So absolutely 100% vital, I would say, is a good relationship with your local police. PCSOs are gold. You know, they know everybody, they know what's going on, they know the young people, they know, you know, they're real champions themselves in their community. So really good relationship with the PCSOs. School, really good to get a good relationship with your school. Each youth shed's different, but most of the ones we run all have school engagement projects as well. So, and again, it's a good way of getting to know the young people. Local youth clubs, you know, we work very well with local youth clubs. We've realised that we can provide something that they don't, and they provide something we don't. So it's nice that we've got a good relationship with them. There's no competition, you know, there's no competition at all within that. There is opportunity to, I'm actually working with youth service soon here. So yeah, it's just building those community connections. And the more that you have, the better impact you can have in the town. Numbers, we only work with very small numbers, which is a bit countercultural these days, which has its challenges in itself. But we like to have between four and 10 maximum at a youth shed. You know, at the end of the day, they're coming because they can't often cope in those bigger groups that youth clubs do. I'd say maybe a bit more proactive in doing the community stuff. All of our work relies on that community involvement, and I know youth clubs do some of that, but I think it's a lot more of what we do rather than the traditional youth club sort of setting. Yeah, and that and the wraparound stuff as well. I mean, so with our youth, what we're talking about is a long-term relational journey with young people, and that doesn't. So your youth club may well be restricted to the 2-hour session, you know, and then the kids go home, and then, you know, but for us, being a part of the youth shed's more a way of life. So we spend a lot of time together outside of the usual normal session. We'll be very much involved in young people, wraparound support and whatnot. So I think that's makes us slightly different as well, in that we have a lot of involvement with our young shedders outside of a normal sort of session, if you like. We have had some absolutely amazing feedback for our approach. We've had letters from psychologists saying that young people have been taken off medication and have fully integrated into society because of putting it down to youth sheds, coming to youth sheds and the approach, you know, and that is phenomenal. It really is. You know, we've had police coming looking for kids because they're worried where they are, because previous to starting their own little youth shed, they were on the police radar every single night, you know. We've got young people who work for us now who couldn't, one of them couldn't leave the house. You know, they were referred to youth sheds, then became a volunteer, then became a member of staff, you know. So yeah, I mean, I really do see miracles, you know, every day. You got community, connection, sense of identity, pro-social identity, getting pats on the back from the local community for the good things you're doing. So it's a recipe that, if done right, you know, like I say, miracles happen, and we see it every day. So yeah, it does work. Our bread and butter is for young people like I was. Like a lot of us were growing up, you know, disconnected, wanted to be part of something but never quite fitted in, you know, and then made all the wrong choices in life. I ended up joining gangs and thinking the answer was there, and it really wasn't. And then, yeah, I made loads of mistakes. And I hope, you know, like I say, I ended up on heroin, street homeless, and like I say, thank God, you know, I was rescued from that, because what I see today is a lot of young people going down that path. I really do. And the thing is, they can't see it. So I think what we try and be, we just want to try and be the people that we might have needed, you know, that might have been there to steer us on track, you know, because we have got lots of wisdom, but wisdom comes from making mistakes, doesn't it? So I think that gives us a little bit of authority to talk to young people and say, look, been where you are, mate, and, you know, this is where it took me. So I always truly believe that whenever a young person comes into youth sheds, 99.9% of the time they're at a crossroads in their life. You know, they don't come to us for no reason. You know, like I say, we don't necessarily work with the mainstream. Usually people get to know about us, get sent in our direction because there's a need. So 9 times out of 10, if we've got the right member of staff working with them, they'll hear the right story, what they need to hear. And hopefully then change their story. Young people, in fact all people, can get caught up in their story, and that becomes their identity. You know, like for me, for many years, I was an addict, I was a criminal, ex-offender. But that's not me, that's not who I am. You know, that was some things that I did. And, you know, so one of the things that we like to do at youth sheds with not just the staff, but the young people, is that we help young people take what's happened to them and use it as a force for good. So when we talk about community projects, we'll often, if we're working with young people who've had an experience of homelessness, we'll use that as a force for good. So that in itself, doing something good with that trauma, with that negative experience, is really healing. That's a really big part of what we do as well. Help young people change their story so it becomes something good, rather than just something that defines them, because it doesn't define them. You know, that's not who they're made to be. If you want to see lives change, if you've got the passion and the drive and the commitment to see it through, and you're not bothered about numbers. If you're bothered about the one, then get in touch. There's plenty for the masses. Youth sheds is for the one and the few. But if you want to see a difference made in your community, then get in touch, and we'll work together on that becoming a reality.